He doesn't arrive with noise. He enters through silence, turning breath into stillness. The pale horse moves with dreadful calm, and on him rides death. Not screaming, not striking, just claiming. No sword, no arrows, just presence. Icy, unstoppable. Where he rides, joy withers and reality crashes like glass. Time slows, voices vanish, the last seal breaks, not with thunder but with surrender. He doesn't start chaos, he arrives after it. He walks through burned cities, broken homes and breathless bodies. War, famine and deception ride ahead of him, clearing his path, and when they pass, he gathers. Not in anger, but with inevitability. No words, no mercy, just presence. He is not a warning, he is the result. The silence after the storm. The fourth seal unleashes more than death. It breaks denial. He doesn't come with fire or flood, but with cold absence. The pale horse isn't dramatic. He's quiet, clinical. And behind him follows Hades, not as a myth, but as consequence. He rides not to destroy, but to finalize, to seal what humanity left unfinished, the end of choice. His color is pale, not white like peace, but drained like disease. It reflects a world emptied of meaning. He doesn't chase, he waits. And when the world has exhausted its wars, its wealth, its pride, then he steps in, calm, certain. And those who laughed at prophecy, who mocked judgment, suddenly find themselves face to face with the one they said would never come. The air changes when he rides, not colder, heavier, as if hope holds its breath. His silence is louder than thunder because it carries the weight of finality. No message, no demand, just arrival. And that is what terrifies. He doesn't need to conquer, because by the time he arrives, the battle is already lost. By those who never believed it was real. He doesn't bring screams, he ends them. In his presence, ambition fades, noise dissolves, and silence reigns. Cities that never slept become tombs of silence. He doesn't knock, he's invited by forgetfulness, by spiritual decay. And when he enters, he doesn't ask questions. He collects what pride refused to surrender. He is the final echo of every ignored warning. Every time a soul turned away from truth, he took one step closer. His approach isn't sudden, it's earned, crafted over years of denial. And when he arrives, there is no panic, just realization that the last rider was never late. He was always on time. The pale horse brings no fire, no flood, just void. A soul-deep emptiness that no army can stop, no system can predict. He doesn't bring destruction, he ends illusion. And those who trusted in strength, gold or fame, find their hands empty, because death is not the enemy of life, it's the enemy of deception. Bloco 08, PT. He doesn't shout, but everything around him falls silent. His arrival is the moment humanity sees the mirror it avoided. And in that reflection, there is no makeup left, no filters, no masks, just truth. He isn't darkness. He's the absence of light that was never invited in. That's what makes him terrifying. And yet even he has limits. Death doesn't reign forever. His ride is long, but not eternal. One day, even the pale horse will stop. Because there is one who rides after him, not on a horse of death, but on a white one, with fire in his eyes. And to the souls that choose light, death loses its grip. He's feared not because he kills, but because he cannot be stopped. People run from war. They resist famine. They fight deception. But no one argues with death. His presence exposes what we avoided, that everything temporary ends. And those who lived only for today meet the one who closes every tomorrow. He rides through palaces and favelas, through cathedrals and ruins. Death isn't impressed by wealth, titles, or fame. He passes through without judgment, because his role isn't to decide, but to declare, to reveal what already was. And when he stops, it's not to question, it's to conclude, without exception. He carries the silence of cemeteries and the weight of forgotten prayers. His arrival reminds us of what we ignored. That time is borrowed. That breath is grace. and that ignoring truth doesn't erase it. The pale horse is not the enemy, but the mirror, the moment when masks fall and eternity speaks. Some will see him as a thief, others as justice, but no one will deny he was real. The pale horse leaves no trail, just absence, emptiness that echoes louder than crowds, and behind that silence, judgment follows. Not the judgment of man, but of truth itself, the final verdict on every soul's story. And yet, he fears one thing: remembrance. Because when a soul remembers who made it, why it exists, and to whom it returns, death loses its throne. The pale horse rides strong where there is forgetfulness, but where there is light, he slows. Because truth doesn't run from death, it reveals his limit. He is feared in silence, more than war is feared in noise. The pale horse arrives not with chaos, but with stillness that crushes. His presence causes even time to pause. No one invites him, yet everyone feels him. And while some run, others finally look up, not to escape, but to remember what they forgot. The world made room for him slowly. Each lie, each injustice, each act of coldness paved his road. He didn't break in, he was welcomed. And now that he rides, he does not knock. He enters where love was replaced by convenience. He walks through faithless halls and dines where souls were once fed. There are no speeches when he arrives, just realization. The pale horse doesn't argue, he doesn't need to, because his message is the ending itself. And those who mocked, who delayed, who ignored, now face the truth they said would never come. He doesn't explain, he concludes, with absolute silence. And even so, some rise, not to stop him, but to defy what he leaves behind. Because though death walks, life still breathes. In the eyes of the faithful, the flame doesn't fade. They know this isn't the final page, for there is one coming, and death will bow. Even the pale horse has an end. He rides not forever, but until the appointed time, until the scroll is fully opened, until every soul has seen the choice. And when that final moment comes, the pale horse will vanish, not in defeat, but because his role is complete. And in that silence, a voice will thunder, one that never dies. The last rider disappears like a shadow before the dawn, not defeated, but dismissed, because his time was only permitted, not eternal. And when the skies break, and the white horse returns, not the first, but the final one, then the ride ends. And death, once feared, is swallowed by something greater, life without end. The pale horse teaches one thing above all, that ignoring truth doesn't delay it. It marches forward quietly, faithfully, but even he cannot silence hope. For there's one who called himself the resurrection, the life. And when he speaks, graves open and even death must stand still. This was never just a story of fear, it was a call to awareness. Each rider showed what happens when we stray, but the final rider reminds us that endings are not always tragedies. For those who watch, who choose, who believe, even in the presence of death, a door remains open. If the pale horse rides today, it's not to terrify, it's to awaken, to remind us what truly matters, not the fear of death, but the purpose of life. And while some deny and others sleep, a few still stand, eyes open, hearts ready, because they know this isn't the end of the story, just the final warning. And now the seals are broken, the riders have passed, and the pale horse fades. But you are still here, still breathing. That means the final choice is yours, not to fear death, but to outrun it, not with speed, but with faith. Because in the end, eternity doesn't ride a horse, it walks with you.